Hey, it's Dan. Welcome back. You're watching iAllegedly, and I've got a good one for you today. I'm out in the back bay area of Newport Beach, which is nice. Gonna walk amongst the boats and the Newport dunes for a little bit for you. But today we're gonna cover how no one cares. None of us care at all about this, it seems like. So, you know, it's kind of interesting, but please don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel so you get notified of everything. Join our email list, and also today we have a sponsor, Ageless Multi-Collagen, which I'll talk about a little later. First things first. A year ago, there were a tremendous amount of searches for inflation on Google, Yahoo, Bing, every search engine. People would go out of their way to search, you know, where is inflation headed? Where is inflation at? Inflation in my state, inflation in my county. What's going to go up? When will inflation end? All these inflation, different things went down, you know, dramatically over the course of the last year. Now, Nobel laureate Paul Krugman, who's an economist Nobel laureate, he steps forward and says, listen, this is a good sign. This means that people have accepted that we're not going to get to 2%. And people just need to understand that they have accepted paying higher prices. What planet do these people live on that they're supposed to accept the fact that we're going to get used to paying more money? No way, Jose. It doesn't make an ounce of sense. None of us want to pay more money for anything, You know, it's funny. On my last video, we talked about how, you know, inflation had hit the barbecue sector, and everybody that wrote me, man, oh man, I could tell you guys, briskets have gone up, ribs have gone up, chicken has gone up, and the price of 4th of July has gone up. Oh, don't forget, you need plates, you need cups, you need sodas, beers, juice, waters, everything like that for everybody, chips, and yeah, all that stuff has gone down in price, but you're supposed to feed 10 people for $67.73. One woman was detailed, sent me the moon on everything that she bought, down to her $207 bill, which was fine, but it's nowhere near the $67 figure. And again, nobody wants to just eat, you know, hey, have a hot dog and be quiet, you know, which is fine. Nothing wrong with hot dogs and on a barbecue, but people want variety, and it's not $67 to go through this. Now, Morgan Stanley steps forward, Seth Carpenter, and he said, listen, we're going to achieve the 2% landing for inflation. There's a summer day camp up ahead, so the kids are just walking by, so you're going to get a little bit of noise for a second. But, you know, hey, we're going to achieve the 2% landing. The Fed's going to nail this. And here's the thing, Mr. Carpenter, the link is below, guys, from this guy's interview. And this guy's going to sit there and tell us how we're going to see 2% inflation. The Fed's going to nail it. The Fed's going to keep control of everything with interest rates, and you're not going to have a banking problem. Who is this man kidding? And once again, these people don't get held accountable for this. The Nobel laureates, everybody else that doesn't, they must be loaded and not have jobs and not need to worry about food. So every place I go to, everywhere, it's more expensive right now. Nothing is inexpensive. Nothing is cheaper than it was before. And you're starting to see restaurants really suffer from this. You know, with 4th of July, we saw a tremendous amount of restaurants that were offering deals, meal deals. And of the 3 that I reached out to, none of them have done this before. Some of these restaurants, you know, have views, so you can see fireworks from their restaurant, things like that. It makes it, you know, more appealing. But, you know, what do you think about this? Do you care about inflation? I know that people don't search for it, so it must be, you know, out of sight, out of mind. No one cares about their, you know, no one has money problems anymore. So with that, you know, let me know what you think about this, because I'm blown away that these people are acting like it's no big deal. But Seth Carpenter from Morgan Stanley talking about how inflation, they nailed it. And we're going to have a soft landing in the economy. Who believes that? Let's talk about our sponsor, Ageless Multi-Collagen. You know, as our skin gets older, we lose collagen. And let's face it, your skin gets crepey, It gets that, leathery look to it. And after the age of 20, we lose about 12% of our collagen a year. When you get to middle age, you have about half the collagen that you did in your 20s. The best thing that you can do is take Ageless Multi-Collagen from BioTrust. I have been taking this for over 2 months, and it has made a huge difference in my skin. It is the first thing I put in my coffee every morning. It's tasteless. It doesn't add any flavor to it, but it has made a huge difference on my skin, my hair health, my joint health, everything. I absolutely love it. Go to healthwithdan.com. You can get 51% off the regular price, and it is absolutely amazing. But, think about this. If you have issues with your skin, if you have issues with nail health, your hair health, and you think you could use something, try Ageless Multi-Collagen. I love it. I use it every day. Go to healthwithdan.com. Now we have to talk about real estate, and a few things that are fascinating is one economist is talking about there's going to be a double dip recession for real estate, where the prices that have dropped, which you really haven't seen them drop around the country yet, he thinks that there's going to be a little bit of a spike, which is what we're having in some areas, and that you're going to see it drop even more. Now, I've got all these articles below for you. What's going on with the real estate market? Fannie Mae steps forward, the lender, and says the reason why prices haven't dropped and that people should get into the real estate market is that there's a supply issue. There's not enough houses for sale right now on the market, so you need to take advantage of this tight market right now and get yourself into a home right now. Okay, well, if they were selling Chevys, they would tell you to get into a Chevy right now. So there's no difference. They want you to buy a house right now. They want you to go into debt, and they want you to pay top dollar for it. So a couple fascinating things. If you bought a house in Houston, Texas, and you made $125,000, great article about this, because I've done this. I've had people write me with the loan calculators and say, hey, Dan, what's the figure for this? It takes $350,000 of income to buy the same type of house in places like New York. So, the unaffordability of homes right now, it's completely unaffordable. But to sit there and say that this is just going to go through the roof and housing prices are never going to go down, you're kidding yourself. You're absolutely kidding yourself. There is such a problem with the lenders and with the banks right now. Think about this. The big four banks right now have $2 trillion of undeclared losses right now. That's Bank of America, who has the largest, $105 trillion of their money, of the 200 trillion. Then you've got Citibank, then you've got JP Morgan, and then you've got Chase. Citibank, Chase, Wells Fargo, B of A. Those four. Wells Fargo's not in that list yet. They're probably number 5 or 6. But the point is that these banks did what Silicon Valley Bank did, where they put people into investments of different bonds and different things like that, and it made it so that as interest rates went up, they made less money, and they're losing money hand over fist right now that nobody wants to look at. And your bank doesn't have the buying power, doesn't have the money on hand that it did just a short time ago. So get ready, guys. You're going to see a credit crunch. If you look at people like Greg Mannarino and his Mannarino Market Risk Indicator, there is a problem with the bond market right now. There's a problem with lending right now, and you're going to see a credit crunch. I saw, a general, retired general, talking about how they've been briefed on banks closing. Why? Why would you brief generals? Why would you brief retired military people? I had a guy I worked for who was high up in the military, and he would get briefed every now and then. I'm like, why do they talk to you guys after the fact? You don't have anything to do with the military now. Well, if we ever get called back in, if there's ever anything serious that goes on, and this is after, September 11th, it's things like that they bring these guys in for stuff. But what would happen to you if your bank was closed for 10 days? Seriously. Dan, you're kidding yourself. doom and gloomer. Okay, everybody's not searching bad things right now. They're not searching inflation. Okay. So, you're starting to see a lot of cracks in the expense of housing, in the expense of everything. Everything has gone up. No one does the math on that when they buy a home. No one sits there and says, honey, what is this house going to cost us? What's the insurance going to cost? What's the water bill going to cost? When I mentioned that last water bill with people and what happened to my late girlfriend's parents, a lot of people were hit with late water bills and things like that. If you have a municipality that reaches out to you to pay somebody else's bill, you have to protect yourself. You've got to get, if you think you're just going to yell it out and deal with this, you may need to get a lawyer and somebody as an advocate for you right away on that. Now, one man, he did something brilliant. He bought a house in 2001, and he said he was very concerned about the potential for utilities and things from the previous owner because they were kind of degenerates. Okay, I'm paraphrasing. But he went in great detail about how after he lived there, he went and, started getting past due notices from the old owners and things like that at his house, and just like has nothing to do with me. And he had to go to the escrow company and his real estate agent and the seller's agent to sit there and say, and the title company too, he got everybody involved, to say, look, our deal in escrow that I wrote was that I was never going to be responsible for this, that they would be for the old owner. Who does that? This guy's a genius. I wish he would have given me his name to say it out loud, but that's what you need to do. You need to protect yourself with all this stuff. People get busy and preoccupied with everything to where they don't want to, who's going to do that, Dan? No one's going to come after us for old money like that. Okay. Dozens of emails yesterday on this. So it's crazy. You'll talk about something, yeah, that happened to me. Yeah, that happened to my neighbor. Yeah, the people behind me. With 4th of July, one thing that blew me away was talking to people in the medical field. Yes, you get, the emergency rooms. It's one of the busiest days of the year because you get amateur night and you get all the drunken idiots out there that, woohoo, live at large. And you get the drunks, you get the car accidents, you get the firework accidents where people hurt themselves, burn themselves, and things like that. What's the second largest thing right now that goes to the emergency room? E-bike accidents. Those idiots. I don't know about you guys, but here in Southern California, these people go out on e-bikes and ride these things 40 miles an hour without a helmet, cross traffic, crash, and end up in the emergency room. Who knew? Oh, you're riding a motorcycle without a helmet, idiot. And because of the legislation, no one's doing anything about this right now. Unbelievable. So, City of San Clemente is a great story below about how they're starting to sit there and how are we going to regulate this stuff? How are we going to make it so that people have to be responsible for themselves in these e-bikes? Wow. What a concept. Okay. So that's happening more and more and more, that people are getting injured. And I'm telling you, I've seen so many accidents out here. You can hear the camp behind me. The kids are playing and having a good Kids are doing what kids should be doing, having a great time. But this would be an ultimate camp, guys. Could you imagine going to camp here? Wouldn't that be cool? Swimming and running around, they're playing games in the grass areas and stuff. It's really nice. So, very cool. Now, homelessness in certain areas is a huge, huge problem. I've had multiple people send me this one out of San Diego. Okay, San Diego Union Tribune, which is their newspaper down there. I live in the county above San Diego. I live in Orange County. San Diego has such an issue with homelessness that when you go online, imagine news, weather, sports, horoscope, business, homelessness. Homelessness is a sector and a section of the newspaper. Is that insane? I'm sorry, guys. That's lunacy down there. But San Diego in the Golden Hill District just set up a homeless area where you've got a homeless camp, where not just a camp, but you've got a marked off area that's taped off where you can have homelessness. Okay, There are so many problems throughout San Diego County with homelessness that it's just growing. And it's also growing to the resort areas. It's growing to the Gaslamp District, by SeaWorld, the Mission Bay area, downtown, all these places that they want our tax dollars for and our money for to go spend and hang out at. These people are freaking out because the average person is encumbering all these different homeless people. But such a problem, such a huge area. They're having it in Oceanside. Oceanside has got different areas. Again, that's in North County. It's the furthest city north in San Diego County. But you've got a homeless problem there. And check this out, guys. This is really cool. These kids are just out. How fun is that? The rowboats, you got the kayaks. Isn't that cool? That's fun. Oh, that's an experience. What a great way to spend your summer. You know, it's funny. My kids, when they were young, we had the greatest after-school program when my two kids were young, and we would drop the kids off at school, and they went to two different times out of school. The after-school daycare program would pick the kids up in a van, take them to the daycare. They would eat, they would do their homework, they would hang out with these people, and it was fantastic. And we'd pick them up before 6 o'clock. Greatest money I ever spent in my life for childcare was that. But they had summer camp too, where these kids would go on trips like this and do things like that. So it's absolutely awesome. What a great experience. One thing that so many people have written me about is that BlackRock, Blackstone, they're going to own the world, Dan. You're never going to see a foreclosure. You're never going to see a real estate deal because these guys are going to buy everything. Doesn't matter if it's an industrial building, a house, all these big time investors are going to own everything. Not so fast. Blackstone right now is limiting people's withdrawals from their real estate investment trust. This is huge, guys. This is a huge problem right now. And what you're seeing is that, think about it. Some rich guy needs to get 300 grand out of his real estate trust. And they're saying no, they're limited for months at a time. We have a 5-month hold, 6-month hold. Well, what you need to look at is the fact that Blackstone right now is unloading properties right now. They're selling $3.1 billion worth of properties right now. Why is that? Because they need dough right now. The other thing is that they have 70 properties right now that are on the chopping block to be sold to a company, Prologis. Now, that's a partner of theirs, industrial space, whatever. But here's the disturbing part about this. Remember, everything's good in the economy. You have nothing to worry about. They're right now unloading all their Las Vegas properties. Everything in Las Vegas, they want to get out of the entire community. So what does that tell you about Las Vegas? Las Vegas is a problem, guys, right now. It's a big, big problem. But the hundreds of emails I've gotten through the years where BlackRock and Blackstone are going to own everything. It's just not going to happen, guys. And they're feeling the pinch right now with this real estate crash. That's not happening right now. The commercial real estate crash, they're feeling the pinch on. But if you're some rich guy that can't get his money out, how do you think you'd feel right then? Or a rich gal, for that matter. But next thing, Dave Ramsey. Think about this. Dave Ramsey wrote his original book, Total Money Makeover, 20 years ago. Isn't that wild to think about? 20 years ago. In his book, he suggested that you have $1,000 put away for emergencies. And he was just at a live event, and someone asked him and said, Dave, what do you think about your rule of having $1,000 set away for emergencies? And everybody laughed, and he laughed. And he said, it's not the point. The point is when you're trying to pay off your debt, you have to have cash set aside for certain types of emergencies. And life happens, guys. Life gets in the way, and you have car trouble. You have the registration in the car doubles, the insurance doubles. Things happen in our lives when we budget. And, Dave Ramsey acknowledged this. So what he has suggested is that people look at their income. If a guy makes $5,000 a month, $3,000 a month, or $30,000 a month, he should have a different emergency cash set aside. And I totally agree with that. I think that's great. But again, has anybody followed Dave Ramsey's advice? Do you think that the book is good? I read it. I thought it was great. You know, I got better advice from my brother than I did from Dave Ramsey. Has anybody made a big difference on your financial life? When you read below, you're going to see things talking about how bad the economy is and how good the economy is. But it's basically a look over here situation. No one is really paying attention to the severity of any of this. Now, you've got experts saying that the stock market's going to shoot up. And then you hear that the yield curve, which is the 2-year bonds and the 10-year bonds, you can make more money with a 2-year bond right now over a 10-year bond. It's the highest inversion that we've ever had on the yield curve for 42 years. And this is always pointed out to a recession coming soon, in a big way. But ignore that right now, Dan. Don't look at the normal things. We're going to make a ton of money and you're going to do great. And we've seen nothing but the stock market at an all-time high. Okay, not so fast. City of Chicago has a $35 million shortfall in their pension fund because of their investments. Well, are they stupid? Is that it? Is that they just waste money and not put money in the proper investments in the city of Chicago? What are they going to do? Well, what they're going to do is raise taxes for people in that city and businesses in that city when they can't get cops and people to protect themselves from theft and drug use and homelessness and crime and everything else that they're subjected to in that fair city. So you're going to see this happen more and more and more. But once again, you have pensions upside down, but investments are at an all-time high, and you're not supposed to worry about that. You should worry about that. You should check on your bank. You should check on everything right now because this does not make sense, and you have to look at this, and you have to prepare for the rainiest of rainy days right now. And that's the other thing. It rained throughout, a lot of the country yesterday. Isn't that wild? 4th of July. A lot of inclement weather. So share your thoughts on this stuff. Let me know what you think about this. But I just think we're at a really weird period right now. And but don't worry, it's going to be good. No, it's not. Experts say it's going to be good. They say it's going to be bad. Let me know what you think. I'm going to finish this video with these last couple stories. And I'm telling you guys, we are seeing a rash of banking stories now where the banks are not paying for the fraud. They're not paying for people stealing your money. They're not stepping forward and doing anything. You have to protect yourself. Justin Lee is a Chase customer out of the Atlanta area. And someone walked in, listen to this, with a fake ID, took $30,000 out of his account, gave them the wrong social security number because the thief didn't have a debit card. And they gave the guy the $30,000 this guy walks out with. Now, here's the thing. Where are the cameras? This guy, Justin, went to arbitration with Chase and lost the arbitration, which again, I would have sued Chase at that point. And I understand we all sign arbitration agreements and things like that. But this is ridiculous. He lost the arbitration agreement and they're not going to give him the money. So, okay, doesn't make an ounce of sense, but $30,000. He's trying to go to the electronic funds transfer agreement where if someone steals your money, you have a right to get it back. Clearly, you don't. So be careful, guys. Check your account. Make sure that the deposits and the withdrawals and things like that. One thing that a lot of the different officials and cops and people that investigate this stuff have told me is that they usually start with a small transaction. Like, let's say they get access to your online banking and do some type of transfer. They'll do a $12, $25, something like that to see what they can get away with. And then they step it up and use a much larger figure and then unload on it. Final thing is the world's greatest sandwich shop, Subway. Guess what, guys? They're going to do another revamp. Isn't that great? They're going to revamp Subway for all of us. And what the revamp is going to be slicers, like Jersey Mike's, where you walk in there and, hey, I want the cold cut combo, and they're going to slice it for you right then. Isn't that exciting? Instead of taking it out of that plastic that sits there for God knows how long. So is that going to be the thing that's going to make you go back to Subway? Me, personally, I stopped going to Subway with the tuna debacle that I used to eat all the time, and when they said that the tuna had no discernible DNA, and Subway didn't have a good response to it. But that's just me. Please let me know what you guys think about all this. Do you eat at Subway? Does anybody eat at Subway anymore? Don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to email me at hello@iAllegedly. The Christmas in May email will be coming out shortly. Make sure you're on the email list, and check your spam filter in the next day or so. Onward and upward, guys. I will see you guys very soon.